The original idea was to try to put flesh on some of the bones of what we as a very small organisation have been doing over the last few years, which is trying to work with a place, as in Falkland Estate, and look at how to find a future for it and how we can be good stewards of that place. And in doing that, we came up with this sense of stewardship being an important thing for us to do and to learn to do well, but also an idea whose time has come. So we'd spoken a bit with other organisations, and there was a lot of other interest. And then last year we thought, actually in the run-up to the G8, we thought, we're looking for 8 white men and what they might do to become better stewards of the world, but why don't we look at ourselves and ask what it means to be better stewards of the world? And why don't we have a festival of stewardship, of people who are doing things in their own places, with their own crafts, traditions, cultures. I think this place is a good place to hold it, and I was certainly struck yesterday by a lot of people who were at the event who were saying this is wonderful. And interestingly, the Palace Gardens and then the Orchard, they kind of provide ready-made spaces to do different things. So we have the cafe tent in the kitchen garden and the food tent in the kitchen garden appropriately, and then in the Orchard we have a whole range, including the nature tent, the energy tent, the learning tent, and somehow, yes, the culture of the place is helpful. So.
We had 29 schools who participated in the opening ceremony. They were from schools all over Fife, from St Andrews, from Daniel and Dunfermline, from Cardenbeath, from locally. So we had fantastic workshops, and the workshop providers were just brilliant because
on at the moment, yeah?
They were making things with recycled plastics, making windmills and cars. They were making kites. They were making portraits of themselves. We had drumming workshops. We had fantastic input from the Scottish Lime Centre, who had the kids all dressed up in overalls doing plastering, and they were just having such a great time. And I think children know what the big tent's all about. It's the grown-ups who don't understand.
And I think an awful lot can be learned about ecological responsibility and localness and working with communities, working with art, all the things that I've stressed myself through a festival, you know, through having fun, through seeing that it's not so complicated and that we can do things together.
We need the public to start demanding access to cars like this, access to alternatives to hydrocarbons, alternatives to gas and oil and diesel, because those alternatives exist. And this is the opportunity for us, you know, like engineers and the developers of this kind of technology, to meet the public and to be able to say, you know, to be able to explain in easy to understand terms what the technology can do, you know, why it's important, why it's worthwhile investing in. And then we hope that the members of the public go and start lobbying their politicians.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's a beautiful setting, and I think it will really get people thinking. You only need a few folk to actually think things in a different way, and then they will inspire other people. And I hope that this will be a regular event and will be a lot bigger, and I hope the sun will shine for the rest of the weekend.
Jubilee 2000 started as a very small campaign. In fact, it started in a shed above a building in London, and it grew into a global international movement, with activists in more than 60 countries, that resulted in the cancellation of $50 billion of debt by the world leaders. And we did it by starting like this, by talking intimately to small numbers of people, by gathering those, if you like, who are ahead of the game in one place, and educating each other. And this has really been an educational event. I've learned a lot today just going around the stalls. And I think it's a vital issue on which we need to be educated, i.e., the sustainability of our world and our ability to effectively steward the very limited resources that we have. So I think that big change happens in this way, by small gatherings that will grow. I hope that this one grows. It has to grow if we are going to meet the crisis of climate change. But this is where you are growing the people that spread the word, that enable change to happen.